Today, I'm organizing an international online training program on biodiversity of mangrove ecosystem. So I want to say welcome and invite the resource person and from different countries, Myanmar, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines. Firstly, may I say thanks to the University, Myanmar, and Anamalan University, Kenya, for supporting to arrange our program. So now, the first one talk. May I invite one? First one talk is on global mangroves, an overview by Professor Dr. K. Kathiresan.
Online system.
Actually, Professor Kathiresan is an honorable professor of Anamalan University, India, a world-class mangrove scientist, and 35 years of teaching and research experience. The former dean and director in Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Anamalan University, India. He has over 500 publications and 10 books. He conducted many international and national programs and trained over 300 people from 28 countries on mangroves. He executed about 30 research projects. He guided 50 PhD research scholars, and he undertaken mangrove research in 17 countries. And he also a member of the IUCN Mangrove Specialist Group and the Wetland International Africa. He received many awards like International Knockout Award from Wolfish Center, Malaysia. So, sir, may I welcome you? Please kindly give your lecture, sir.
My beloved brothers and sisters, thanks to Dr. Wawa Amin for having given me this great opportunity. I'm going to speak on global mangroves, an overview. Mangroves are oceanic rainforest, tidal forest, and coastal woodland, and the only blue carbon forest. Marvel of nature, ecological wonder, scenic splendor, arching roots, breathing roots, but dancing fishes, breathtaking beauty. I love mangroves. Mangroves are the only tall tree forest in the muddy intertidal zone of the tropical and subtropical coasts. Since mangroves are situated between land and sea, mangroves support both aquatic and terrestrial organisms, thereby enriching the biodiversity. The mangroves and dinosaur, they were born at the same time 75 million years ago, but dinosaur disappeared, but mangroves are not so. Long-living mangroves because of its unique capacity of tolerating disasters. Mangroves are unique because they are the rare forest on the earth. Mangroves occupy just less than 1% of all forests on earth and 0.4% of the tropical forests. Mangroves are highly productive. Biomass of mangroves is greater than any other aquatic systems on earth. Mangroves mitigate climate change by resisting and resilient the disasters and climate change. Mangroves are absorbing atmospheric carbon dioxide, and thereby they are reducing the atmospheric heat and keeping the environment cool. And mangroves are highly adopted by the presence of extra stem support structures like pillar roots, support root, stilt root, like this of different architecture. Mangroves have exposed breathing roots above the ground, and these breathing roots have got minute pores through which oxygen is taken in. So oxygen deficiency problem is overcome by the mangroves. Mangroves drink seawater efficiently, and they separate the salts, and the salts are excreted or vomited through the salt glands present on the leaf surface like this. Mangrove cells have got high concentration of salts and stored in water. And the water will move from soil to root only when the cells of the roots are accumulating more salts than that in the soil. Same way, the water from the root will move from, from root to shoot only when the shoot tissues are accumulating more salts. The water will move from stem to leaves when the leaves are accumulating more salts. So the mangroves have got high salt concentration in their cells. At the same time, the mangrove tissues are storing water efficiently. Viviparous water dispersed probius can see the seed germination inside the fruit when it is attached to the mother plant. The trees release growing plants rather than simple seeds or fruits. So these are all unique adaptations of mangroves by which they are able to grow in the harsh coastal environment. If you see the global distribution of mangroves, mangrove cover is 152,000 square kilometers in 123 countries and territories between 32 degrees north and 38 degrees south. And Southeast Asia, our countries, it's the hotspot of mangrove biodiversity. And this region has got 33.5% of the global mangroves. The largest mangroves are found in Sundarban, Papua New Guinea, and West Africa, also Brazil. The mangrove rich countries are Indonesia. Indonesia alone has got 20% of the world mangroves. Brazil, 9% of the world mangroves. Australia, 7%. Mexico, Nigeria, Malaysia, each 5% of the world mangroves. Myanmar, Bangladesh, Cuba, India, Papua New Guinea, and Colombia each has 3% of the global mangrove forest. And mangrove floristics are concerned, there are 80 species of mangroves belonging to 32 genera and 18 plant families. Out of 80 species, 69 are true mangrove species and 11 are the hybrid species. Mangroves have trees, shrubs, palm, and fern. Genera Rhizopora and Avicennia are of worldwide distribution. Interestingly, the hybrid species, 11 species are present in the world mangroves. You can see the high incidence of hybrid species. Mostly they are infertile or sterile. They are found to be present along their parents, mummy, daddy. The hybrid daughters are found to be. But still confusion is existing. What is the exact number of mangrove species? So this problem can be solved only by further studies, and this confusion is due to taxonomical inconsistencies. And the true mangrove associates, it's not clear. Molecular studies are required. What is the exact area of mangrove distribution in the world? It's not clear. According to one report, it is 15.2 million hectare in 123 countries. Another report says is 13.2 million hectares in 118 countries. So various types of mangrove laws to be understood. And the conservation management strategies are followed in different countries. Are they weak? Are they strong? It's not clear and confusing. So all these issues ought to be addressed. Mangroves support fish resources. It is a very important ecosystem service. 75% of the tropical fishes are born within mangroves. Mangroves support 80% of the global food fish catches. If you take 1 hectare of the mangrove water, 23 million commercial fishes are available. Mangroves serve feeding, breeding, and nursery grounds for prawns, crabs, mollusks, fish, birds, reptiles, and mammals. So therefore, the mangrove is rich in biodiversity. So mangroves support flagship species, charismatic macro-fauna like Royal Bengal tiger. This Royal Bengal tiger is present in Sundarban, and Sundarban is the only mangrove tiger kingdom in the world. Proboscis monkey is associated with the mangroves of Borneo. And you can see the flagship species, sailfin lizard and pencolins, they are present in mangroves of Philippines. And the scales of pangolin is now extracted for treating the COVID virus present. You know, there are other flagship species like bigamy three-toed sloth, red colobus, manatees, spotted deers, and starfishes. And these flagship species can get more fund for conservation of mangroves and these macro farms. The second important ecosystem service of mangrove is extraordinary in carbon sequestration. And the carbon sequestration potential is 10 times tropical forests. Mangroves are 10 times greater in carbon sequestration in the soil. 1 hectare of mangroves can store 794 tons of carbon dioxide. So therefore, mangrove restoration can mitigate climate change. The mangroves prevent ocean acidification and coral bleaching. Because mangroves export alkalinity 4.2 trillion moles per year to the coastal waters. So therefore, mangroves prevent ocean acidification and coral bleaching problem. The mangroves are very important as biofilters in removing the solid waste and heavy metal pollutants and thereby they are purifying the water. For example, mangrove sediment is storing more of iron than chromium, than nickel, than manganese, than zinc. And these Avicennia species are useful in bioremediating the toxic heavy metals. Mangroves are rich in polyphenols, and these polyphenols will precipitate the protein. And there, in addition to polyphenols, polysaccharides, terpenoids, steroids, alkaloids, and peptides are present in mangroves. And these bioactive compounds can inhibit both RNA virus, including COVID-19 and DNA virus. And we proved that the mangrove extracts can control vaccinia virus, polio causing virus, and hepatitis virus, jaundice causing virus, and the HIV causing AIDS. All these viruses can be very well controlled by the mangrove. And the mangroves reduce disaster risk. How? Because of the elastic aerial roots. And these aerial roots will bend in response to the heavy wind, but it will not break. And mangroves have underground cabled roots, thereby not making the mangrove trees uprooted due to heavy wind action. Mangroves have got green wall-like structure, so it is a physical barrier against all the natural stress and calamities. The mangroves are very efficient in producing the new shoots after damage. So this is called copicing. The copicing is very efficient in non-Rhizophora species like Rhodiosia and Avicennia. But Rhizophora species do not have the copicing capacity because apical meristems are not found to be present. Global flood protection by mangroves. 1 hectare of the mangroves can protect 243 people from flood. So the economic value is 65 billion US dollars per year. If the mangroves were lost, 50 million more people would be flooded annually across the world. And we proved for the first time in the world tsunami mitigating effect on human killed. And you see, this is the restored site in 1990,
Yes,
well before tsunami.
yes,
And the Asian tsunami 2004, this is the restored site. You see, the long concrete structure was broken into pieces, but not the mangroves. The mangroves saved thousands of human life during Asian tsunami 2004. For the first time in the world, we recorded. So mangrove ecosystem services are very important because 200 million coastal people in the world are dependent on mangrove ecosystem services. The ecosystem services are carbon sequestration, fisheries production, forest products, and shoreline stabilization, recreation and tourism, coastal protection, pollution removal, groundwater protection, thereby ensuring the water security of the coastal people. So all these ecosystem service may be lost within 100 years because mangroves are fast disappearing. And therefore, we need policies and management to consider the multiple services of mangroves with the highest number of beneficiaries. Unfortunately, if we focus on a single ecosystem service like aquaculture and fisheries production alone, it is detrimental to other ecosystem services. So therefore, all the ecosystem services ought to be considered in an integrated way by the policy and management. Today, threats to mangroves. So the global loss is less than 0.4% per year. Actually, it is reduced from 2% in 20th century. Now it is reduced to less than 0.4% per year. But unfortunately, Malaysia, it is 0.7% per year. In Myanmar, it is 0.41% per year. And East Malaysia and Myanmar, the mangrove loss is greater than the global average. Unfortunately, in Myanmar, 60% of the mangroves were lost between 1996 to 2016 within 2 decade period. Therefore, the rehabilitation of the degraded mangrove requires attention. Today, habitat conversion is a main threat for aquaculture, agriculture, land reclamation, for urbanization, pollution. So the habitat conversion leads to destruction, leading to the forest cover loss. The second important aspect is degradation of mangroves, hydrological changes, mainly the dam constructions. In next 15 years, more dams are going to be constructed along the rivers in our countries. So these hydrological changes will increase the salinity, and thereby it is degrading the mangroves because of high salinity, and thereby the biologically available nutrients are retarded or reduced. This results in the ecosystem health loss. So in India, 40% of our mangrove ecosystem health is lost, and 40% are degrading India. The future threat is climate change. And among the climate change impact, sea level rise is a very serious future risk. Presently, we have 3 to 4 millimeter per year sea level rise. It is expected to increase 6 millimeter per year by the year 2050. It is expected to increase 10 millimeter per year by 2100. Mangroves can tolerate sea level rise only up to 6 millimeter per year, beyond which mangrove will be affected. So this is a very serious future risk to be considered by the policymakers. The destruction of mangroves, degradation of mangroves, leading to the greenhouse gas emission like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These greenhouse gases are having the impact on climate change. So conservation, so policy and action. The gap between policy and action should be reduced. But unfortunately, the gap is more and more in many countries. So this gap should be reduced between policy and action. In the regulatory approach of conservation, the marine protected areas are considered. But in the marine protected areas, corals and fisheries are considered, but not much attention to mangroves in our Southeast Asian countries. So therefore, we need to give more importance to mangroves to be included in the protected areas. The protected areas suffer due to countries and make an agreement in December 2015. Reduce 7% of atmospheric carbon dioxide. If you don't reduce 7% atmospheric carbon dioxide, the temperature will exceed 2 degrees centigrade. The impacts will become catastrophic and dangerous. So, therefore,
Iya, Pak
on
Keke.
this issue, mangrove can provide the potential solution for the future. So, in this context, Global Mangrove Alliance, IUC and WWF have got the aim to increase the global mangrove cover by 20% within the year 2030. See, already we have about 80,000 hectares of potential land for mangrove conservation and development and restoration. So, in mangrove development, three aspects are important: protection or preservation. Protection. This should be given the topmost priority. The second is hydrological restoration, the dam construction, and the shrimp abandonment of the shrimp farms. We need hydrological restoration. It is only the second priority. The last option is massive planting. So massive planting should be the last option, because in many of the countries, monogeneric plantation is made. And in China, the exotic species is introduced in Nigeria also. So these exotic species have got the impact on the local biodiversity. So the biodiversification in the planting is very, very important. What is the impact of these monogeneric plantations? We do not know in the long run. So therefore, protect mangroves, mangroves will protect us. Conserve mangroves, the mangrove will conserve us. Let us have a vision to see, bigger to act, heart to care, Mother Nature, and have future. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir.